Good morning and welcome everyone to Acumen's Webinar Wednesday series. My name is Stephen Phelps and I'm the marketing manager here at Acumen. For those of you who are new to our webinar, we like to cover bi-weekly topics on third-party products, general tips, tricks, and tools, roadmaps, or any other latest trends that we see throughout our industry. Today, we brought in Tina Fan, who is an account executive from Beanworks, and she will be covering automation tools for modern accounts payable teams. We will start off with a few slides and survey questions, and then move on to a live demo of Sage AP automation and showcase how it can reduce manual tasks and set your team up for success. But before we get started, please note that this webinar is in listen-only mode, and if you have any questions, then please type them into the chat option, and we will answer them near the end of the presentation. But we have plenty to cover, so I will now pass it on to Tina.
Awesome. Thanks, Stephen. And thank you everyone for joining me today. I'll be your host for the webinar. And on the agenda, we're going to be talking about tools for AP teams, the challenges, some of the solutions. We'll go through a quick product demo of our product as well. And at the end, save some time for a Q&A session. So please feel free to use the Q&A function on your screens at any time during the webinar, and I'll answer those at the end. So first of all, why do accounting teams need more tools? Well, ask any AP employee to pick the most frustrating part of their role, and chances are they'll point to manual processes and paper. Manual accounting is time-consuming, risky, and expensive. In fact, in a survey of 1,100 finance professionals worldwide, 41% blamed manual data inputting for inaccurate financials. Now let's take a closer look at those problems. A common complaint is that AP is paper-based and inefficient. From the early days, accounting departments have been running processes manually. In fact, 86% of small to medium-sized enterprises are still manually entering invoices. This brings the challenge of errors. And research says 88% of spreadsheets contain inaccuracies. Often these can be traced back to mistakes done by an employee that is already overloaded with tasks. But overall, with too much paper and manual work involved, 71% of organizations claim manual data entry and inefficient processes as their top pain point. The next challenge is cost. When considering labor alone, if you have one AP clerk processing invoices full-time at $20 per hour or approximately $3,440 per month, let's say 300 to 400 invoices monthly would cost your business about $9 to $12 per invoice. This AP clerk could be spending their time on more valuable work rather than data entry. Now, we all know that accountants are overworked. Between crunching numbers, sending approval reminders, data entry, and other tedious tasks, they're also responsible for accurate processing and reporting on the financials. One study claims that 1 in 10 accountants works 7 days a week. 34% consider quitting once per week, and with so much workload pressure, 47% end up taking work home with them. If employers want a happy, healthy workforce, they need to put measures in place to help staff regain control and work-life balance. The other challenge is that manual systems lack control and visibility. Here's an example of a over $13,000 employee expense fraud that went on for 21 years at Providence Water Supply in the US. Rebecca Lorenzo, a purchasing supervisor, used the company card to buy personal items. She may have brought on her own downfall when she told the supervisor that she'd make a personal purchase of $155 on the company card. Rebecca paid back the money, but officials opened an audit anyway and found the other fraudulent transactions. So what tools can you use to solve these common problems in accounts payable? The majority of the problems in AP are centered around data entry, document management, and lack of automation. We're going to cover each of these individually. First, data entry, which isn't just tedious, it's also prone to errors that can end up costing a fortune. Take a look at London Olympics as an example. An employee accidentally inserted 20,000 instead of 10,000 tickets in a financial spreadsheet, making the committee sell an extra 10,000 seats that didn't even exist. Blunders like these are hard to avoid when you're managing a large volume of data manually. Here's what the problems are. The top challenge is that it's time-consuming and low-value work. Depending on the size of your business, you may be processing anywhere from 100 to thousands of invoices per month. Manually entering them is not the most enjoyable work. It often requires double data entry when you switch between spreadsheets, the accounting software, and any other systems that you might have. And then errors. If manual work is involved in every step, there's a high possibility of errors, which can lead to inaccurate calculations. Now, how can we fix these issues with a data entry tool? Data entry tools use OCR technology to read invoices. It works by capturing data from invoices, verifying and populating it into your accounting system. You can batch scan invoices and even route them as a batch to approvers. Data entry tools are also fast to integrate with your accounting system. There's quite a few solutions in the market that focus specifically on finance as well. According to G2, these are the most popular data entry tools. Receipt Bank has automatic matching, auto-publishes data to your accounting software, and costs about $50 per month. Auto Entry gives you full line item capture, purchase order matching, and this costs about $98 per month. And then Verify gives you instant results for invoice processing, has detailed line item coding, and costs about $500 per month. Data entry tools serve very well for their purpose, but do come with certain limitations. You might experience information silos or maintaining data in different systems like files and spreadsheets. No approval routing, as most of these will not solve the problem of workflows and approvals. You might still be stuck using emails or whatever other systems you have in place for that. These tools also don't offer payments or purchasing workflows. So you might solve the problem of data entry, but may still be left with challenges in other areas. All right, so now that we've covered the big problems in AP, we'll get into the tools that help make improvements. But first, we're going to run a quick poll to understand your challenges better. So on your screen, you're going to see a poll pop up, and please select what your biggest AP challenge is. All righty, so let's take a look at the results. So it looks like 60% of us have indicated that the approval process follow-up was one of the biggest challenges of AP, and this can definitely be time-consuming and frustrating without a centralized platform. And there's also the risk of letting one quick go-ahead lead to an invoice that shouldn't be paid. So you can definitely understand the concerns there. It looks like following that, we've got the data entry and coding, as we all know, isn't the most enjoyable thing to do manually every day. And then finally, identifying errors and the inability to process AP remotely. So two major points, especially in times like this, or what we've experienced over the last year with a lot of businesses shifting to working from home. All right, well, thanks everyone for filling that out. We really appreciate your participation. And on to the next. So the next automated tool we're going to discuss is a document management system. Now, manually filing and storing paper and physical documents can take up a lot of space and add ongoing storage costs. Plus, you have to think about how everything will be organized for easy access and tracking. Now, let's look at the problems with manual document management systems. The first challenge is approval routing and follow-up, which is mostly run through emails with countless hours spent handling each approval with care. Managing paper and spreadsheets simultaneously isn't the most efficient way to run AP either. If you make a change in one file, it has to be replicated in other places where that data might be stored as well. And finally, an inability to access documents remotely. So how can you and your team securely access data without physically being in the office? Now, you can solve all of these challenges with an automated document management tool. For AP teams, an agile document management tool receives and manages documents online, reducing the dependency on paper. It allows for all data to be stored electronically, giving you the flexibility of remote access. And it also routes documents for approval and follow-ups digitally. Let's take a look at the solutions that you can use for document management. So according to G2, they recommend the following. SharePoint. This offers third-party integrations, and it's available separately or with Microsoft Office 365. And this costs about $20 per month. DocLink streamlines the approval process, integrates with most ERPs, and costs about $325 per month. And finally, PaperSave. This features auto entry to enter transactions from image. It can scan documents in stacks, and pricing, it seems like it's only available through request on their site. Now, while these solutions do a great job in document management, here's where they fall short. The biggest limitation is that they only address the problem of document management. Now, most don't have an out-of-the-box workflow that would solve challenges in other areas like data entry or online payments. Plus, ongoing maintenance and management of these systems is a full-time job itself. Each workflow will take approximately 3 to 6 months to implement. In comparison, data entry, is much quicker to implement. An efficient document storage system directly impacts the approval process. If a manager needs an invoice, how fast can the AP employee retrieve it? Can the manager do it themselves? How does the process flow if there is more than one person involved? See, these are some questions to consider. All right, so for our next poll, this is about approval workflows and how many levels of approvals do you have in place right now? So is it just one person reviewing anything? Do we have 2-step layers? We'll launch the poll up on your screen and please select the most accurate response. Alrighty, cool. Let's take a look at the responses. Awesome. So it looks like most of us, for 50% of us, have indicated that we've got 3 or more approval levels. That's great. It sounds like you have a solid safety net to spot any inconsistencies. And you might want to track how much time approvals is taking, though, if you have 3 layers. There are ways to organize and fast track the process more efficiently, and we'll definitely cover this in the webinar as well. Okay, perfect. So on to the next here. Finally, we're going to talk about AP automation software, of course. So let's start off by reviewing the challenges. The biggest problem with manual and paper-based accounts payable is that it leads to inefficient processes. For example, you may have 2 or more staff members who need to approve a vendor invoice before the payment is processed, which sounds true to most of you on the call today. And if they need to send the invoice around by hand or email, those approvals will take time. On average, it takes about over 20 days to process an invoice. By the time the invoice is paid, you may have missed an early payment discount or even accrued a late payment penalty. The next challenge is risk of fraud. In the current climate, exposure to risks such as phishing emails or business email compromise scams has amplified. A quarterly BEC report for Q1 and Q2 of 2020 says that there's been a 389% of increase in business email compromise. Finance teams are still not fully aware and prepared on how to deal and identify the different types of fraud. especially when only 25% of employees say they double check an invoice before making the payment. And 76% say they do not call the supplier to check if the change request, such as account number, date of payment, is legitimate. With the rise in scams at this time, it might be a good idea to conduct invoice training for staff to help them spot a fake invoice. Managing accounting with a disconnected workflow stops you from having a 360-degree experience of your financial spend and operations. It's impossible to make analysis and forecasts without information that is accurate and easily accessible. And last but not least, inaccurate forecasting. Here's an example of how inaccuracy in financial numbers can damage a business. A few years ago, Bank of America disclosed that it had made a significant accounting error. It had $4 billion less than what its accountant said. Reportedly, the bank failed to deduct losses and financial instruments that it acquired when it bought an investment management company called Merrill Lynch. This miscalculation went unnoticed for years. When the news broke out, Bank of America shares plunged by 6%, causing a heavy dent on their reputation. Human error is inevitable when manually inputting information. With the help of an AP automation solution, you can relieve your accounting teams from these big roadblocks. But first, let's take a look at what AP automation software really is. A robust AP software will automate all your AP processes through one system. It incorporates all of the data entry benefits of OCR technology and batch scanning, combined with document management where you can receive, store, route, and process invoices, documents electronically, unlike the slow implementation timeline of a document management tool. AP automation is much faster to achieve. Typically, it could be done in a few days, and AP automation incorporates all of these pieces together on one platform. Data entry and document management often claim to be AP automation solutions, but really they aren't. To better understand that, let's take a look at the benefits of automation first. AP automation helps you reduce cost by replacing paper and inefficient processes. A market research firm called Level found that the average cost to process a single invoice can be up to $15, and organizations that have implemented a solution like an AP software have realized a savings of 60 to 80% over manual processing, making the average cost of processing one invoice to be $3 or less. Cost savings come in by reducing data entry, centralizing document management, storage, removing paper, and giving staff more time. The next benefit is mitigating the risk of fraud, waste, and abuse. We spoke with a business called Hearn Industrial about how automation helped them combat financial fraud. Their financial accountant, Derek, says, "We recently received an invoice that was completely fraudulent, but looked like one of our invoices that we normally receive. It was uploaded to Beanworks and routed to the appropriate person, and the approver instantly defined it as a fraudulent invoice." Now, if your accounting is primarily manual, it can take approximately 14 months before your business detects a fraud. A big benefit, especially relevant right now, is easy access to AP data. In the backdrop of COVID-19, a research was conducted with 225 CFOs worldwide, and the study found that 50% had not completed any digital transformation in their financial department during this time. And 54% had implemented some kind of transformation, and they performed better on agility, insights, and efficacy. With automation, 54% of businesses are in a better position to make remote payments. You can easily report on spend and liabilities in real time and find documents faster. Bottlenecks like standing approvals are also much easier to track online. If you're ready to install an accounts payable software, make sure to check on what workflows they automate. The challenge here is finding the right fit because most automation providers don't have all AP workflows or integration points. So you might have automated one part of the workflow, but end up managing other operations in separate systems rather than one place. When searching for an AP automation software, look for a solution that ties in all functions in one central platform: purchase orders, invoices, payments, and expenses. That's how we do it here at Sage AP Automation. All AP processes and data are stored in the system. This means no loose spreadsheets and random software shared by individual departments. And I'll get into how automation simplifies all four workflows. Let's take a look at purchase orders first. Purchase order automation gives you automatic matching. An overview of open purchase orders helps with forecasting. And you can also create purchase requisitions directly in the system and automate the approval process in one place. Improve control over your planned spend by creating purchase requisitions directly in Beanworks. Set and manage spend limits by department, manager, project, or vendor. With invoices, you get digital storage. You can search invoices by, again, vendor, GL code, amount, legal entity, or any other information that lives on the invoice. You can customize approval channels on one platform, and invoices can be routed based on location, department, project, vendor. For example, an employee in New York can easily code an invoice to a company's California location's marketing head. Another benefit is AI-powered data capture. All invoices processed through a feature called Smart Capture will also go through human verification to ensure there is the same level of accuracy as today. Invoices sent to auto capture will continue to arrive in your In Progress tab once they've completed Smart Capture and verification. And the third workflow, payments. Electronic remittance means your vendors no longer need to follow up on when their invoices are being paid. Our system sends remittance emails by email. The other benefit is vendor management. So outsourcing payments to a third party puts them in charge of collecting, updating, and securing sensitive vendor payment data. There's always a risk for your company when you're storing sensitive data in-house. So a third-party solution can effectively manage that. And now that vendors are moving away from physical systems of payment, you get the option to pay them by ACH, EFT, virtual credit cards, that's the VCC, and checks are still an option if that's what your vendor prefers. Finally, employee expense management. One of the top complaints from employees about expenses is the paperwork. With automation, you can solve that problem by giving the employer and employees mobile access. Employees can upload receipts and create expense reports from anywhere. You save time with automatic GL coding by setting up customized expense receipt categories that map to your GL codes. So coding is automatically completed in the background for your accounting team. It also speeds up approvals by giving both parties, so employer and employees, online access. Employees can create reports online and route it to the approver. Once approved, the AP team can reimburse employees electronically. When it comes to expense management, we offer all of these features at $240 US per month for unlimited users and receipts. But please note that this amount is in addition to your AP automation subscription price, which varies depending on the plan type and usage. So all pricing is slightly different if you're based in Canada, but we can definitely explain this in more detail. Just reach out to us. Now moving on, I'm going to share how these workflows integrate on our platform by giving you a product demo. But before that, just a quick wrap up. Before that, we'll just dive into the system itself. So let me quickly just open up the system here. Alrighty, so welcome to Sage AP Automation platform here. So I'll be going, just for the purpose of today's webinar, a quick overview of the solutions that we offer, the different workflows and so on. But we do highly encourage, if you would like to see more of a personalized demonstration and how this would apply to your organization, please reach out to us and we can get that set up. Now, the way that we've structured and designed the system is, you'll see on the left-hand side here, we've got the 4 main modules that we've discussed. So expenses, purchase orders, invoices, and payments. The core of our system really is built around the invoice module, and everything else you can decide if you'd like to add on and use now or add on down later in the road. The workflow flows from top bottom or from left to right. Center of your screen here is the workspace. And on the left-hand side, we'll be able to map out your organizational structure. So we do handle multi-entities very well. So if you've got more than one company out of Sage or out of different accounting softwares, we can integrate and have them displayed just like this. Furthermore, if you've got your different departments, locations, and layers of segmentation, we can have them all listed below as well. Now, our system allows for unlimited user access. So all of your approvers, anyone who's involved in AP that needs to view, touch a document, can be set up in here. And that means they don't necessarily need to have access to the accounting system as well. So no need to worry about purchasing additional Sage licenses. All of your users can work purely in here and access all the data they need. Now you'll see as I navigate between the different modules, everything in terms of the user experience looks exactly the same. And the only thing that really changes is the color of the module. So we've designed the system this way to make training fast and easy. Once you've learned one of the modules, you should have a pretty good understanding of how the rest of the system works. So to start off, let's cover the invoice module, as again, that's the core, and we'll discuss payments, purchase orders, and expenses. Now with the invoice module, there's 2 primary ways to upload an invoice. The first way is by our automatic email forwarding. So you'll be set up with a Sage AP Automation email address, and any file or any email that's forwarded to that address will automatically spit into the in progress here. So if you have a general accounts payable inbox already set up, on the back end, we can set up some auto forwarding rules to recognize that whenever you receive an invoice, it'll forward directly into the system here. Now, if you're still receiving invoices by paper, you could actually do a quick batch scan of all of the pages, whether that means you've got a stack of 20, 30 different pages, scan them all together, drag and drop the file here, and you'll notice all of my pages appear like so. This screen you could think of as your PDF editor, where it makes it super easy for you to split the different pages and then even drag and drop them together if you've got multi-page invoices. Once I've organized everything, hit save and create, and all of these will now meet us with the rest here in progress. Now, once it appears here in progress, we're taking care of some of the data entry for you. So our system will be able to automatically tag the header information, which includes the vendor, invoice number, date, due date, subtotals, totals, and taxes. And we've got a few different tools to help with the line item capture as well. Now, the first way is the smart code feature that we were talking about. So smart code remembers invoices that were coded the last time. So this works great for your reoccurring bills, utilities, rent, bills that are often coded the same way from a specific vendor. So if you just hit smart code, the system will populate the details for you. We'll just do a quick review and then submit it off for approval. The other way we have is our automatic PO matching, if that is If purchase orders are part of your workflow, we can locate the purchase order match for you. And all you'll have to do is essentially adopt the purchase order by clicking here, and it will just copy and paste the details from the purchase order and apply it down to the invoice. Now, we also have automatic line item capture. So for bills that you receive that contain, descriptions, multiple lines on the bills, if you're receiving statements and so forth, our automatic line item capture can actually read the invoice using technology and capture the details for you. And finally, of course, with our direct integration with Sage, you can just jump directly into your account list here, for example, use the wildcard search and quickly type in a string of number of the string or specific word. Let's say I'm looking for an expense account, and it narrows down my results to quickly select from, and then submit it off for approvals. Now, the approval workflows, whether that's for invoices, purchase requisitions, payments, or expenses, is very robust and customizable. So you can include as many users that you need to review the same invoice or purchase order, and etc. And the rules, again, can be based on value of the bill. So for example, maybe we have different workflows if for invoices over $5,000. Other combinations include rules based on vendors that the bills are coming from, accounts that they're coded to, departments that they're segmented to. So the options are really robust and unlimited. And once you've defined the workflow in the back end, our system will recognize who to route that bill to automatically. Now, for the experience of the approver, they'll receive an email notification just outlining everything that's in their queue, and our system will take care of the follow-up for you. So we'll be able to identify if there are any bottlenecks. So if you've got someone who's just, not reviewing their invoices and they're kind of holding up the entire process there, our system will continue to send out that notification until they've gone in and approved those invoices. To do so, you'll see all of your details here laid out, and I could just click approve or reject. Now, if you reject anything in the system, we also make it a requirement that a comment must be left here. So comments you'll see are logged on the left, and they'll be sent back to whoever submitted it in the first place, so all your communication stays in one place. Once they've been approved, they'll flow over to export, and this is where we'll send the data now back over to the financial system. So if we send it back over to Sage, it'll send over as an unposted batch to AP, where you can post in Sage at that point. After the export, everything will stay here in the archived level. So this is really where the document management comes in place. We do store all of the invoices, all of the information related to it here for 7 years. So if you ever needed to search anything up, again, you could do this remotely as long as you have internet access. You can grant certain users to have access to this filing cabinet. And there's a couple different tools for you to pull up some invoices or look for or search for the data that you're looking for. So at the top here, you'll see we've got the global search. At this point, I could type in any data point, which includes, even a specific invoice number, a vendor name, an account that it was coded to, and so on. So let's say, for example, a vendor's calling about a specific invoice. Let's just take this example and enter 00234 as the invoice number. You'll see there, the system quickly pulls down the results, and I could just jump in and see all the details related to it. Alternatively, you'll see on the left-hand side, we've got custom filters as an option. So this is a handy tool for your financial reporting. For audit purposes, you could always create a filter and pull in certain type of criteria. So if we want to look at all invoices from a specific set of vendors between, date range or coded to a specific account, really, define your filter and highlight the little bubble. And from here, we'll narrow down the results for you to easily create an Excel or PDF report. And with the PDF reports, we'll also outline all the backups related to the invoice. So you'll see the invoice images, the audit trail, the approval history, and any comments that were left during that trail as well. All right, so that's a quick summary of the invoice module. Let's discuss payments here. So payments will actually be able to take care of sending out, like I mentioned, ACH, virtual credit card, EFT, or physical checks on your behalf. Now, since this is an add-on solution, if this is something you'd like to add on down the road, that's completely fine. As again, our system is directly in sync with Sage or your financial system. So if you were to issue a payment through Sage in the current way you're doing now, we'll actually be able to pull that data across and have it reflected here. So you'll see on my screen right now, there are some invoices that have this little cash icon next to it. That just means I've already paid these invoices in Sage. So again, that data gets reflected here. And these invoices will not come down into the payments module at all. So you don't have to worry about making a duplicate payment. You'll be able to see, across the board which invoices have been paid and which have not. Now, continuing on with our process, they'll flow down here to the create level, where you'll get your aging list to start selecting which invoices you're ready to pay. Send it over to the next step, where in progress, we're now defining the details of the payment. So again, which payment method are we paying? Is it EFT? Is it check? We also integrate directly with your bank. So if you've got multiple different bank accounts to make payments out of, you can select which one for this particular case. And then again, submit it off for a payment approval workflow. So I know with most companies, sometimes the CEO or the owner is not involved in approvals until the payment's being issued. So if you have different people involved in this section, we can set up different workflows on the back end to accommodate. So their experience stays the same as we've seen earlier, where we can jump in, view all the details related to the invoice and the payment, approve or reject. Once they've been approved, we still give you full control of when you'd like the payment to be issued. So by releasing this payment, you're just telling us that, yep, we're ready for you to send out the electronic payment, at which point we'll also send out the automatic remittance email, letting your vendors know that a payment is coming. And then finally, paid, we'll send all the information back over to the financial system, so you have it there and here. And then archived again, you'll get all the backups and storage for the 7 years. All right, so touching on purchase orders now. So we kind of talked about it a little bit, where you can create requisitions directly in the system. So it just looks like this, where the employee would come in, select the vendor that they're hoping to purchase from. We'll submit it off for approval. So again, separate workflows if necessary. And they'll go through the approval process. And on this level here at the committed, you'll see all of your open purchase orders, as we do automatically match them to the invoice as shown earlier. All right, now finally wrapping up the demo for today, our final module is the expenses module that accommodates the employee reimbursements and expense reporting. So again, with this section, we do have a separate mobile apps that make it easy for your employees and employers to take photos of their receipts to upload them. So instead of hanging on to them and filling out an Excel sheet, putting all of your receipts in a folder, handing it down to accounting, everything now is electronic and you can do it right off of your phone. Now, of course, I'm just on the web browser right now, but how it looks like is just like this, where I would go in and open up a receipt. And you'll see here, you have two options to either create a new report. So let's say, I am on a trade show, and I'll just label this my July trade show report. So the next time I upload a receipt, I can tag it to this exact same report and continue to add to it. Now we'll complete the merchant details. So who did you buy from, the date, the amount. And the category mapping here that we discussed a little bit earlier is the option for you to create customized categories for the employees to select from based on the department that they belong to. So in this example, I kind of have an admin overview. I'm seeing all departments across the board. But let's say I'm logged in as a specific employee from, let's say marketing. This would be defaulted to that. And the categories available here would only be the marketing categories that you've set up. So my bill here is tax related, so I'll just tag that to this category. And what that does for the accounting team on the back end is it tags it to a specific GL account you want it to be associated to. So for the employee standpoint, it's straightforward. I'll upload my receipt, tag the category, and go ahead and submit it. You'll see here now that's the report that I've just created. So the July trade show. And typically, you'd have a compilation of receipts ready to go. Let's say I submitted at the end of the show. Just hit that button at the top, and this will send it down to the AP team. So again, eliminating the need to actually transfer physical documents, add any physical, attachments to AP. Everything will just send over directly. And for AP, how it appears is it actually flows right back down into our invoice module that we've covered earlier. So it'll show up as if you're looking at a vendor bill, but you'll be able to tell that it's an expense report. But the user experience remains pretty much the same. You'll see all of the receipts lined up here, and you'll notice the accounts automatically populated for me based on that category that I selected. So all that AP needs to do now is quick review and tag the vendor. So in this case, the employee that we're paying back. Once you've done so, we could submit it for an expense approval workflow. So again, involving different managers if necessary. But everything flows down exactly the same way as we've seen earlier, where after approvals, it can then get exported back to the financial system and eventually archived here for your storage purposes. So you'll see as I went through the system here that a lot of it is consistent in terms of the workflows. Again, we've designed the system this way so that once you've learned one module, it'll be easy to pick up on the others. So hopefully this was helpful. And again, we do highly encourage, if you'd like to learn more and have this a little bit more personalized and catered to your organization, please do reach out to get a personalized demonstration set up. All right, so back over to finish off on the webinar today. We'll end off with a Q&A session. So if there are any questions, please do type them out in the Q&A there on your screen or in the chat, and we will be happy to address them.
Thanks, Tina. We did have a few that came in already, so we can actually go ahead and get started. But yes, if you want to write in the chat option, we'll read your question out loud and answer them for you. So the first question that came in was, which payment methods are supported?
Yeah, awesome question. So we do encourage, of course, electronic payments. So that it includes ACH, EFT, the virtual credit card. But of course, if your vendors prefer, we can issue them a physical check as well. And finally, we do offer foreign exchange and wires too.
Thanks. It looks like another one just came in. It said, what kind of customer support is included?
Yeah, great question. So when it comes to the setup and integration, we do connect you with a dedicated customer success manager from our team. So you'll have one main point of contact throughout the setup process. And this includes, the technical integration, the workflow and training. And after you've been fully set up, you will continue to receive ongoing support from us. And we have different layers of support buckets available for you to choose from. So if you would like to continue that relationship with your account rep, that's an option. Otherwise, we do have your regular support line that you can reach us at, and articles and so forth to find your answers.
Thanks. I'm just going to give it a few more seconds to see if any other questions come in. If not, we'll go ahead and wrap up early.
Cool.
Looks like another question came in. It says, can you explain again about the automatic payment process? Once payments are processed, are they posted into Sage and sent to our vendors?
Yeah, it's a great question. So in our system, you'll be able to, again, route or set up the payment. So define how you'd like to pay it. So whether, let's say, for example, we'll pay this invoice by EFT. Once you've defined it, we'll route it for approvals. So if typically your payments go through a two-step approval process, we can route them to the two different individuals. After they've been approved, you'll now have the option to release it on the certain day that you'd like. So if you typically make payments bi-weekly or every Friday, keeping the same routine, you could go into the system and release the payment that same day. And once you release it, you're telling us now to send out that automatic remittance email to your vendor to let them know that a payment is coming. After we've released the payment, you're correct. We will send that data back over to Sage and post it so you have the payment details matched up to the invoice details. So hopefully that answers the question.
Perfect. And I think we actually had one more question, so we'll answer that question, then go ahead and wrap up. They asked, how long does it take to get set up?
Yeah, that's great. So setup process, because we have such a well-established integration with Sage already, it is fairly seamless. You're looking at roughly 4 to 5 hours in total. So 4 to 5 different meetings. And we've had many clients complete, all these meetings in a week or two. Or typically what I see is clients kind of spread all of the meetings across a month. So, I mean, we're really here to support you if you'd like to move quickly or, kind of take it day by day to provide you with the best training and make sure that your team is ready and confident using the software.
Perfect. Thanks, Tina. And then we have one more question. So it says, what problems do you typically encounter when implementing?
That's a good question. So I don't work with the implementation team. So you'd be set up with one of our customer success managers. But typically what I see here is depending on, it could be, technical difficulties or challenges, depending on your version of Sage or the network that you're running on, as we do install a tool on your server or where Sage is located. And that's really the tool that sends the data between the two systems. So if any challenges, persist, I would imagine it may be regarding the smart sync or that tool that we have to download. And that just may relate to, the IT, the network settings and Sage itself.
Perfect. Thanks, Tina. So with that, we'll go ahead and wrap up. So if you do have any additional questions, please reach out to your assigned account manager. You can email us at am@acumenfl.com, or you can give us a call at 407-965-2411. Make sure to follow us on LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, and our YouTube channel where we'll be posting the latest Sage content. This webinar will also be recorded. So if you'd like access, then give Acumen or your account manager a shout, and we will provide you with the link. I believe that's all we have for you today. So we hope you all have a great rest of the week and look forward to seeing you on our next webinar Wednesday.